Things will get serious in the fall. The UK is the first European country to start ETA, the mandatory online registration for travellers, if they manage to do it. The EU is also already working on such an electronic record. When it will follow with ETIAS, however, is still a bit open. Brexit is just annoying. From 21 EU citizens needed a passport to enter the UK, and from October it will be even more annoying. Then the island across the channel will introduce ETA. The three letters stand for Electronic Travel Authorization, and that means that, like ESTA in the USA, you have to register online in advance to order to receive a travel authorization. Without them, nobody gets on the plane, on the ferry, or by car or train through the Eurotunnel. However, like ESTA, a positive ETA decision does not automatically guarantee entry. The border officials are still allowed to turn anyone away at passport check. Fortunately, EU citizens still have a little time before things get serious, because Great Britain starts with the ETA system gradually. It starts this October, so to speak, for practice with the clearly arranged Emirate of Qatar. Jordan, Bahrain, Oman, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates will follow in February 24. After that, the exact time has not yet been determined. The individual EU countries will be integrated into the ETA application, and at the very end it will be the USA's turn. The only exception to this digital effort is Ireland. Anyone who, as a German, mourns the uncomplicated entry before Brexit sees ETA as a chore. But in the eyes of many other states, participation in ETA is a privilege, because the electronic registration, which, like the US model, is valid for 2 years, unlimited entries and a maximum of 6 months, exempt many passport holders from other countries from the visa requirement. So it's a visa waiver program. After all, the British Kingdom only grants visa-free entry to countries with which it has particularly good relations. The online registration before departure is therefore intended more as a relief. This, as we would say, kills two birds with one stone. On the one hand, the travellers themselves enter their personal data, which then only has to be compared by the authorities, and on the other hand, the host knows, in the case of ETA, up to the registration deadline 48 hours before departure of the journey, who intends to set foot on British soil. In addition, such a digital travel application is not free and flushes money into the state coffers. £10 is the ETA fees they announced now. Electronic travel authorizations have long been used to screen incoming tourists, relatives, students or business travelers. The pioneer of the system is Australia, which exchanged the visa requirement for Singapore and the USA for electronic travel permits as early as 2001. In the wake of the terrorist attacks of September 11th in 2001 in New York, the USA introduced the ESTA system in 2008 for security reasons. Canada and New Zealand followed suit in 2015 and 2019 respectively. The EU has also been working on online registration before departure since 2016. With ETIAS, that's the European Travel Information Authorization System, nationals of 60 countries should be able to enter the EU without a visa. The ETIAS permit is valid for 3 years, and a stay of 90 days with a number of entries in a period of 180 days is there. If you get a new passport, you have to submit an online application again, though. The ETIAS fee is comparatively cheap at €7. If you are under 18 or over 70 years old, you do not have to pay any fees. All ETIAS applications for family members of EU citizens and non-EU citizens who have a residence permit are also free of charge. Now, the only question that remains is when ETIAS will come into force. The plan is 2024, but the date in November 23 has already been cancelled. Travelling between the UK and the EU became more complicated after Brexit for a number of reasons. Because British citizens now need a valid passport to travel to the EU, even for short trips, and you know what valid means now. This is in contrast to the pre-Brexit rules, where British citizens just could use a different form of ID if they wanted to, and it wasn't so strict with the age of the passport. EU citizens now sometimes have to get a visa if they not just come in as a tourist. And Usually, before that, we could travel to the UK without a visa in all cases. And there are now new rules for traveling with pets between the UK and the EU. Pets must have a pet passport and microchip, and they may also need to be vaccinated against certain diseases. And British citizens who drive in the EU will now need an international driving permit. This is not required for EU citizens driving in the UK, by the way. British citizens who are traveling to the EU for more than 90 days will need to take out private health insurance. This is because they will no longer be covered by the European Health Insurance Card, the ETIAS. In addition to these changes, there have also been some delays and disruptions at border crossings since Brexit. And this is due to a number of factors, including the need for new checks and procedures, and the fact that some border staff are still unfamiliar with the new rules. New only to the UK, they are old. But it's important to check the latest travel advice before traveling between the UK and the EU, and you will find this advice on the websites of the UK government and the EU, of course, but you better do so you don't have to go through what I reported several times here with people trying to travel to the EU for their summer holidays, for example, and they couldn't because their passport was too old. And as you could see at the little cut in the video, it is, for my point of view, hot like hell in Germany again. And that combined with those two big lights here that make me quite visible in this video, that is killing me. So the air is dry as hell. And if I sound a bit different at the moment, it's just the heat. I talked about this in my last live stream as well. But as far as I heard, next week from Tuesday or something, it should get colder. I'm just a typical, don't know, Northern European guy. Everything higher than 20 when I'm not on holidays is too much. 20 is my maximum. Everything else is just annoying. Typical me. But when I'm going on holidays, I like hot weather. I like the beaches in Spain, in Italy, where I've been on holidays quite often, in France. But it's totally different weather there then, and not killing my video work as much as this weather here. But nevertheless, if you want to see something else about Brexit or the UK politics, the next video is right here in the end screen. I'll see you there. I'll be back.